Wow. So ladies, just before we do one more practice, because if it's possible, I want to have it on the recording. We're going to do it so slightly. Hit your hip, bring it like sexy up till here in the middle. Push the leg out and the breast out and the chin, and say in your head, I'm sexy. Okay, here we go. Yes, Mandy. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Congratulations, ladies. You have just had your first Bring Sexy Back and put your name after that. So Bring Sexy Back, Sanette. I love that post. I use that post quite often, especially if I had to make sure that my husband takes notice of me, that he listens to me. So then I do this and he doesn't even know. So Jose, you just saw a power woman pose. So ladies, welcome everyone. So I would love to introduce Jose. I met Jose the 8th of January when I went to Philadelphia. I called him my silent giant. He didn't say a lot that day, but he brought a lot of people to the conference. And, you know, I can see people were looking at him with so much respect. And since then, the last 8-9 months, almost like a baby. I know you have a newborn baby in your home, but like a newborn baby or like waiting for a baby, Jose, you were like inspiring me. And I have told my husband that you are one of my male heroes. And what you have accomplished in your life is amazing. And it's okay for me to say that because he said, Sanette, if you can learn something, then it's a good thing. And I said, yes. And then when you said, yes, you're coming to come and inspire us, I was over the moon. So Jose, if I can give it all over to you, inspire our socks off.
First of all, can you hear me fine? We're good? All right. Well, thank you for having me. Sanette, I think it's a very special opportunity to speak to all of you here. And just humbled and honored that you even thought of me to come here. When you said the word celebrity, I was like, oh man, this is the first time that somebody said I'm a celebrity. So I'll take it. I'll take it, you know, no big deal. But thank you. And I see some familiar faces here. And I also see a number of ladies that I don't know. So nice to meet you all. And again, thank you for having me. So in terms of why Sanette thought I should be a speaker here, and it's great to see you, Mandy. I had no clue you were going to be here, but awesome stuff. So I have a couple of things going on. Let me just very briefly, for the sake of time, I think I have like 20 minutes. I'm just going to, you know, not spend too much time on my background and give you as much meat and potatoes as I can. In terms of value and some tangible walk-away tips that you can implement in your life today. My topic, or what I wanted to talk about, is the power of the morning and evening routine. So my thing I guess you could say my flagship product is the morning and evening routine mastery program. It's an 8-week program that I teach entrepreneurs and busy professionals all over the world how to take their personal and professional life to the next level by simply installing bookends of their day. So how you start your day in the morning, how you end your day in the evening, they're interconnected and they can create maximum productivity if done effectively. So, and I'm glad to say that Mandy is one of our graduates of the program. She went through the program and she did amazing and just was thrilled and honored that she was a part of it. And so a little bit about me, I'm married, I have 5 kids, a family of 7, so never a dull moment here in my house. I live in Maryland, which is about 20 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. here in the US. I have a martial arts background, so I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai kickboxing. I do that for fun. I don't plan to open a school. I don't plan to teach anybody. It's just more recreational. And then in terms of professionally, I've been in the insurance finance world for maybe 15 years. And then I got tired of being boxed into an office all day. And I said, I need to get out of a suit. I need to go do a little bit more different things, kind of more what I'm passionate about. And I got into the martial arts world in terms of sales director. So sales is an area that I'm really good at, things I really enjoy: sales, networking, marketing, and social media. So I'm a sales director for a global martial arts company. I handle the US territory. I just went part-time because I have two separate companies that I have that I kind of like rolled up my sleeves and launched out of nowhere. And I'm telling you this because part of the inspiration of what I want to give to you today is showing you how in such a little time, a lot has happened. And it's not because of luck, and it's not because of just timing. It's because of the intentionality. I'll say that again, the intentionality of what I was doing with my spare non-productive time, creating time in my day to really elevate it and take it to the next level. And again, that goes back to morning, evening routine. So with that being said, and I think I have my timer here. Yep, it's in front of me. So my two companies I have one called the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. The Entrepreneur's Bookshelf is a digital programs company, morning, evening routine mastery. In less than 7 months, a little over 7 months, it's reached over 170K. And again, we're just getting started, not even a full year. So I'm super excited about where that's going. Digital programs. I'm working on a sales course as well and some other stuff currently. But that's like the main, I guess the main meat that in terms of what I sell, right? My Connected Leaders Academy, that's another membership program that's expanded in a little over 5 months to 207 members. We're in 11 countries now, just expanded into Egypt and let's see, UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Thailand, the list goes on. We're in 34 states, coast to coast, entrepreneurs, networking, all that good stuff. So I say all of that to say the following: that's also a 6-figure business now, and we're just getting started. And I, of course, have, my merchandise line. I have my book that I just wrote that's coming out January 6th, which is on the morning, evening routine mastery. My program, I kind of did it backwards. Most people write a book and then do a course. I kind of had the course already, and now I'm doing the book. So all of that has happened in a very short period of time, in less than a year. In less than a year, I went from being very average to having 5 income streams, and it's just the beginning of something very special. So let me tell you very briefly, in terms of 2019, I was very average. I told my wife across the board, and not that I'm anything special now, but definitely in a better place. In 2019, I told my wife, starting January 1st to December 31st for this 1 year, I'm going to commit to a morning routine and an evening routine relentlessly. 5 a.m. wake up time, 10:30 p.m. bedtime, no excuses, zero compromise, extreme ownership, just going to make it happen. In that 1 year, doubled my income, launched a business, lost 36 pounds, became a better father, became a better husband. My spiritual life went to an all-time high. I was getting out of debt. I was financially better. Emotionally, I was in a better state. Instead of like a roller coaster ride, emotionally, I was much more stable because I was really taking self-love very seriously, because I was taking the time and the energy to create self-care, which is very important, which is directly tied to self-love, right? And I understand that you can't give what you don't have, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So I had to make sure I was taking care of me first to be a better father and a better husband, and better, everything across the board. So a lot of that was happening. And I also intellectually started reading a book a week. In that 1 year, intellectually, I was on a whole nother plane, right? Michael Hyatt, and this is a great book. If you've never heard of it, it's Your Best Year Ever. Your Best Year Ever is a phenomenal, phenomenal book by Michael Hyatt. And he talks about the 10 life domains. A lot of people only focus on, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 areas of their life, and they disregard all the rest. So imagine like an orthopedic surgeon, an easy example. There's this doctor who is really good, identifies their identity with their profession. Everybody, when they want surgery, they want that doctor. So career-wise, vocationally, doing really well. Healthy, goes to the gym every morning right before going into the hospital, in a great place, healthy, health-wise. Financially, doing really, really well, making good money, investments, even in crypto and all that good stuff. But the marriage is falling apart, not a good parent, never there for the kids, zero spiritual life, and the list goes on and on and on. So a lot of people I have found have 2 or 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 of their lucky areas where they're doing pretty good, and they forget about the rest. So it's very, very important that we look at the 10 life domains, and we're very intentional about moving the needle in every single one. And then I hear, well, I don't have time to do this and this. I don't have time to do that. So I like to reword I don't have time to it's not a priority. Because the reality is we all have 24 hours in a day, and we all have the abilities, we all have greatness within us. And there are certain skill sets and talents that you have that I don't have, and vice versa. So that's why it's important to get around high-level entrepreneurs, because iron sharpens iron. When you get around people that have areas that they're powerful, they're masterful in that, and we're all working on something, we improve, and that's how we grow, kind of like a group like this. So with that being said, it's about making things a priority. So how important is your spiritual life? How important is your family, the relationships that you have? How important is your health? How important is it to move the needle financially and get in a position to where you have financial independence and financial freedom? And you can now, because you make more, you can give more. I believe that income is directly linked to impact. I know a lot of people that make a lot of great income, but zero impact. And that's pretty empty if you ask me. I also know a lot of people that make a lot of income, but have tremendous impact. And that's kind of what I'm after. I'm after global impact. I'm after changing lives. I'm after, helping people get what they want so that I can have what I want, which is what Zig Ziglar talks about, right? And that all starts with leadership. And it starts with you taking your life seriously. And when you take your life seriously, it's not about just showing up in one or two areas, like I said. It's about being holistic in your approach. I need to be good across the board. And there's a difference between good and great, right? I would rather have a lot of good days in a row than be great 1 or 2 days and then be average all the rest of the days. So good is not bad as long as you're being good consistently. But then again, they also say there's good to great. There's a gap between good and great. Good is good, but great is great. So there's a difference there too. So if you can be great consistently, that's even better. But let's just focus on maybe being good as often as we can in all of the 10 life domains in our life. And everything compounds over time. The Compound Effect is another great book if you haven't read that. That applies to everything, not just money. And then we talk about the whole idea of how you do anything is how you do everything. So very, very, very important. Let me tell you 5 things. I'm going to give you 5 quick tips on how to level up your morning routine. So to wrap up the whole backstory of 2019, I changed my life in 2019. And that's where my program came from, because I said, well, if I can do this for myself and take my life to the next level, then now it's time to teach other people how to do the same thing. But instead of having you do what I did in a year, I want to teach people how to do it in 8 weeks. And that's kind of like, because I think fast is key, right? Sometimes we got to go as quickly as possible, and then we celebrate, and then we go quickly again, and then we celebrate. And that's kind of how I operate. I go in sprints. I know it's a marathon, right? And we never arrive. And it doesn't matter how successful you are, there's always a next level. That's part of life, but sprinting is key. So with that being said, here's the first. I'm going to give you 5 quick things that you can implement into your morning routine and or your evening routine today, tonight, and then tomorrow morning. No particular order. So number 1 is planning your schedule for the next day. This is part of the morning routine. So planning your schedule for the next day is critical. But I have met so many people that make one little error in terms of preparation. And there's the 6 P's. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. I'll say that again. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. But the problem is we tend to want to do things in the morning. Let me create my schedule for the day in the morning. Well, that requires a lot of willpower. That requires extra decision making. The more decisions we need to make in the morning when we're tired and all that good stuff, and again, it's the over time, right? Your willpower goes down, 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 down. So in the evening, the key so that you're able to be more effective in the morning, they say the best morning routine begins the night before. So the best morning routine begins the night before. So at night, before you put your head on the pillow, plan your schedule for the next day. And don't have 50 to-do list items. Have your 3 things. The 3 non-negotiable tasks that must be done. Put those in place, and then you have one priority. If everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. So you have to have one priority that's going to move the needle personally and or professionally for that day, that's going to get you closer to whatever goals you have in place. So you ask yourself today or tomorrow morning, what is the most important thing I have to get done that is a non-negotiable, that if nothing else happens and I do that one thing, I can say it was a successful day. And it's important to know the difference between a good day or a terrible day, a bad day, a good day, and a great day. How do you know if you have this, if you don't have metrics in place? What does that look like? Ask yourself those 4 areas. What does a terrible day look like for me? What is a bad day? What is a good day? What is a great day? Put some metrics in place of what that looks like so you can gauge it at night during your examination or reflection of conscience, which is another piece that I'll talk about. So with that being said, plan your schedule the night before, know exactly what your appointments look like, know exactly what your 3 non-negotiable pieces are, and what your number 1 priority is. And then maybe a list of some people you need to connect with. Connections is powerful. Every single day, I reach out to 3 people to just touch base with them, whether it's to maintain a friendship and relationship or to connect with somebody new who I'm trying to build rapport with, whatever the case may be. So you should have 3 names on your calendar every single day, the night before. Again, planning. Success is a planned event. Anything that falls together falls apart. John Maxwell says that all the time. So you gotta plan the night before. So the next thing I have here is journaling. Journaling you can do in the morning, you can do in the evening. I use a couple different journals. So I have this one here, 1 line a day. This is a phenomenal journal you can get on Amazon. And I don't know if they ship, I'm assuming they ship to South Africa. I'm not sure how that works, but this is easy to get. 1 line a day, a 5-year memory book. So it has like 5 sections every single day for 5 years. So you can track your progress and your growth. I can look back and say, wow, 3 years ago today, I was going out at happy hour. And 3 years ago now, or 3 years now, fast forwarding to this year, on this day, I closed the deal for $5,000. I can immediately see tremendous growth right there. What I was doing with my time then, what I'm doing with my time now. So this is a great journal. If you want to keep it simple and you feel you don't have the time right now, start with 1 line a day. Small, simple steps. Triple S, small, simple steps. James Clear has a phenomenal book. Another book you should read is Atomic Habits. You know, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, to create a habit, it's 21 days. 21 days is the old research of how long it takes to create a habit. The new research says it takes an average of 66 days to create a habit. Jim Quick talks about that in his book, Limitless. Now I'm dropping a lot of books because as you can see, I love to read books. Jim Quick, powerful book. Michael Hyatt in his research, same thing, 66 days to create a habit on average. It can be as high as 200 something, it could be as low as 21, but it's typically 66 days. The harder the habit, the longer it takes. So journaling, if you're not a journaler, get into the habit of starting with small, simple steps. If you want to floss your teeth every single night and you don't have that habit in place, start with 1 tooth every night. As simple as that. Boom, done. Boom, done. Every single night for a week. And then you go to 2 teeth. And then you go to 5. And then you go with the upper deck. And then you go with the lower deck. And then next thing you know, you're flossing. And if you do it long enough, you have a new habit. And creating a habit is not breaking a habit. It's simply replacing one behavior with another. People say, oh, I have this habit. It's a bad habit. It's a negative habit. Well, all you got, it's a behavior. And a behavior repeated over time becomes a habit. So if you want to break a bad habit, just replace it with a better behavior that will create a success habit. That simple. So that is one journal that I would recommend. Another journal is the Daily Stoic Journal. This is by Ryan Holiday. And it goes with an amazing, amazing book on Stoicism called the Daily Stoic book. Now I got the leather bound, you know, little fancy edition, but you don't need this one. This is just an upgrade. But this is very simple. And this goes with this. I read this and I journal here. And it has a morning reflection based on what you read and an evening reflection based on what you read. And you are now journaling in the morning and in the evening with 1 paragraph. Simple as that. That's like the next step after 1 line a day. And then you move on from there and you go to journals. So these journals I have for every year. And I do 1 page every single evening before I go to bed. And I ask myself 3 questions. What were my wins for the day? What were my challenges for the day? And what did I learn from that challenge? It's that simple. And then in the morning, sometimes I might have a separate journal, which I have another one here. which I'll do some gratitude stuff, or I'll ask some power questions. So I'm running out of time, but that's number 2. Number 3 is we have reading. Very, very, very important to read. I read now close to 60 books a year. It's that's at least that's the goal. 52 is historically what I've been doing. And again, I'm not a reader. Well, become a reader. I'm not a morning routine person. Well, become a morning routine person. Who says you can't be that because you feel you're this? Who said that to you and you accepted their limiting belief? Right? I believe in liberating truths, which is what Michael Hyatt talks about. You have to tell yourself, I'm a reader. You have to tell yourself, I'm a morning routine person. So reading books, read books, and not Kindles, not tech stuff, not, get physical books. And the reason why I say physical books is because there's so much more you can do with a physical book, besides the fact that it smells good when you open the spine. It's just really, really cool to be able to really engage in marginalia. Marginalia is essentially the notes in the margins, underlining, circling, putting your comments, having dialogue with the author. If you disagree with something, write your opinion on the side. Creating your own index in the front of the book. Every single book I read, I go back and I know all the key points of what I read. And I also, so for the first time I read a book, I highlight, I never open a book unless I have a highlighter, a pen, and a bookmark in my hand, because I underline, I circle, I do all these things, dog ears in the corners. I do that, right? And then I put the book on the side and I leave it for anywhere from 30 to 90 days. And then I go back to that book and I only reread the pieces that I highlighted and underlined and commented on. And then if it's a book that's considered a classic or a powerful book that I want to revisit, what do you think I do? I have a section in my library here at home where I have the reread books that I'm going to come visit in a year, and then 5 years, and then 10 years. And you're going to see it from a different lens every time you go back to those classic, powerful books. So the last 2 pieces here is commonplacing. Commonplacing is very, very, very important. Commonplacing is, they used to call it the commonplace book. Ronald Reagan, for example, president, he would go and give speeches to world leaders and talks and all that kind of stuff. How do you think he prepared? He would go to his commonplace book to identify what he would say. The commonplace book, and you can look it up, commonplacing, has evolved over time. Ryan Holiday does it. Robert Greene does it. John Maxwell does it. What do you think? He wrote over 90 books this quickly. And every single book you read as John Maxwell is packed, so packed. It's like getting fed 2 steaks at one time when you read one chapter, because he has all of these like powerful quotes and poems and ideas and concepts and statistics. Why? Because 3x5 index card filing system. If anybody's interested in that, just message me. I'll show you a picture of what mine looks like. I'd be glad to share with you what that looks like. Send me a DM on Facebook. But it's very simple. There's I have 150 categories of different things. For example, faith, winning, losing, journaling, success, whatever, right? All these different categories. And every single night in my evening routine, before I go to bed, I file 5 things away. It could be a quote that I read in a book. It could be a poem that I read somewhere. It could be an article I read in Entrepreneur Magazine. It could be, almost done. It could be, it could be something I heard on a podcast. It could be me being on an interview and somebody said something powerful. It could be something I saw on YouTube. It could, all these different sources, right? So what I do is I take whatever I found, I put the page number, the author, the speaker, who said it, the resource, whatever, and I file it away in these categories every single night. And then every time I prepare to do a talk like this, for example, or I write a book, or I'm going to go do a talk in somewhere in some event, what do you think I use to prepare for it? That I go to my commonplace book and I say, what am I going to talk about? Where can I find, what quotes do I need to use? What statistics do I need to reference? What this and that and that. So if you write a book, you can all of a sudden write a book with such mastery because you have all of these reference points. It's called the art of commonplacing, putting things away in a filing system for future reference. I highly recommend that. And 2 sentences, the last thing I'm going to say is reflection, examination of conscience. Every single night, you got to ask yourself the hard questions. How did I show up today? Why did I not get this done? Could I have been better here? How can I react to that situation better next time? Is this all I've got? Could I have given more to this situation? Why am I still resentful towards this person? Why have I not forgiven this person? Why am I holding back? Why did I not give my all today to this problem? Is this who I really am? Who do I really love? Why am I not showing the love that this person deserves the way they need it? So many powerful questions you need to ask yourself at night, and really, 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 truly answer those with complete honesty. And then you have prayer, and you have Bible, and you have exercise, affirmations, visualization, reviewing your schedule for the day from the, before you go to bed, bedtime routine, meditation, breath work, cold showers, budgeting, managing your finances. There's like over 35 different things you could be doing in your morning routine and your evening routine that speak to the 10 life domains. You got to figure out what's right for you based on what your goals are and where you're headed. And it's different for everyone. And let me say this, the morning routine and the evening routine, you never arrive, because it's an ever evolving process. And you're always going to add, adjust, change, remove, whatever, as your life continues to change and expand. So I hope I added value to all of you. And again, thank you so much for having me today. Appreciate it.
Wow, you could have talked for more than 2 hours, I'm sure of that. Thank you so much. So ladies, I know there's a lot of questions, or if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask Jose. So Jose, I've got a question. If you look at your morning routine, more or less, is it every day this, I know the same time? I know you start 5 o'clock, but is it for 2 hours, 3 hours, and your evening routine, or will it also different?
My morning routine is 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., 3 hours. And that includes fitness, working out, whatever that may be. So, and it's always evolving. Like I said, sometimes I remove things after like a year or 6 months, and I've only been doing this since 2019, right? I've been learning in the space of morning routine, evening routine for like 15 years-ish. But I only started implementing what I've learned in the last since 2019, because information without implementation is just head knowledge, right? Which is cool, but it won't actually do anything for you. So anyway, 4 a.m. wake up time and 3 hours. And I've evolved to 3 hours. I always say start small, start with 20 minutes in the morning, and you can continue to build from there, but don't start aggressively because it's not sustainable. And then in the evening, I have from 9 to 10:30, and that's kind of when I call it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Is there any other questions, ladies? Thank you. Jose, I want to say thank you for inspiring us. There were so many nuggets. You are beautiful. You know that? Beautiful. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure, and thank you for the honor to be here. Thank you.
You are welcome to stay, Jose, or if you want to go, you're also welcome to go. But we would love you to stay if you can.
I'm going to hang for a little while, and then I got something to do, but I'll definitely hang out for a little bit. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. So now, my beautiful ladies, we're going to give it all over to Yaki, our beautiful Yaki. She's going to come and inspire us. So Yaki, thank you so much for your inspiration you're going to give us today. I know you've got a lot of things in your heart and in your soul, and you still come and you are doing this. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. All over to you.
Thanks, Annette. And I actually did not check in with you earlier. I'm going to see if I can present and play a little bit of background music. So I'm going to share and see how it works.
Yes, you can. You can present. I've opened it already, and you can also play music.
All right. Can you see my screen with my big smile on?
No, just it says sharing, but no screen is coming up.
Let me see.
The smile is there. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Can you still see it if I make it small? I just want to see if I can play my music as well.
Okay, go. Right. Let's see.
So I'm going to talk a bit about Smile tonight. And there was a song that the Bee Gees released in 1968. Just let me get my date right. Yeah. And I'm sure if you hear it, you will actually remember it. And I'm going to play you just the background music and then take you through the words. I'm sure you all heard that, Sanette, did you? Great stuff.
Yes.
Right, so I'm sure all of us are familiar of what the benefits of smiling are, but I thought it good to take you all through it tonight again, maybe just remembering again what smile is about. And the first one is, if we start smiling, it actually makes us live longer. And the compelling reason for smile, as I mentioned, is that we can extend our overall lifespan. A genuine, intense smile is associated with longer life. It also relieves stress. I don't think that you came across anyone that was stressed when you start smiling. And it also prevents us from being stressed out, because you can't be stressed out and smile at the same time. And that also leads to elevating your mood. Next time that you're feeling down, try putting a smile on your face. Our body cannot always distinguish between a fake smile and a true smile. So even if you just put that smile on your face, you are going to feel better. A smile is also contagious. People also often start smiling when you smile. And you are on tonight as well, and you are the queen of laughter. And we all know that that is contagious when you start laughing. It also boosts your immune system. You do feel better if you smile, and that also relieves and reduces pain. A person who is smiling is also attractive. It lights up your face. You feel beautiful, and people are drawn to people who are smiling. Negative facial expressions push people away. You don't want to be associated with someone that's frowning all day and goes through life with a sour face. Smiling also is a suggestion of success. Research has shown that people who smile regularly appear more confident, are more likely to be promoted, and are more likely to be approached. And then it also helps us to stay positive. When you are smiling, you cannot help it to feel better and feel more positive. So my question to all of you beautiful ladies and Jose, when last did you smile and your smile actually reached your eyes? Because people can see it in your eyes. I'm sure that when we all wear masks, the only time that someone could recognize that you're smiling is if it really hit your eyes and they could see it in your eyes. We all know that people can hear the smile in your voice. I am smiling most of the times during the day, but there are times that during the day that I'm so drawn into being busy at work and people draining my energy that I forget to smile. And then it actually push the people away from me. I often have team sessions with my team, and they can immediately hear my voice if I don't smile. And they will immediately ask me, Jackie, what's wrong? I tested it last week when I mentioned to Sanette that I'm going to talk about smile. And I really tried for 1 hour, not smiling, not making eye contact, and no one engaged with me. And after a while, I started smiling, being myself again. And people immediately approached me, calling me Auntie Jackie at work, some of the youngsters. And I appreciate that. And they compliment me on my beautiful smile. If I go during a day or throughout a day without smiling once or not smiling enough, I feel worn out, I feel drained. But the days that I actually smile throughout the day, not letting other people drain my energy or take my passion away, I feel that I've achieved something. I want to share with you a movie that will always remain with me. The movie's name is Under the Tuscan Sun. Diane Lane played the lead role in there. And she was actually played the role of Frances Mays, who was a writer, who bought a village in Italy. And one of the key moments that still stood out for me, and that film was made in 2003, is how she on a daily basis leaned over the balcony and there was an old man walking past. If I remember correctly, he lost his wife. And Diane or Frances then greeted him every morning and he never acknowledged her until the one day where he actually acknowledged her. So my plea to all of you beautiful ladies tonight is that do not let anyone steal your smile. It's unique, it's yours, and no one can take it from you. And I want us to do a one-liner affirmation, because we all know that affirmations make us believe in what we are, what we stand for, and what we do. And if you can just repeat after me. My genuine smile is special and unique. En dan, nou het ek hulle heeltemal verloor.
No, we can still hear you.
Sorry, I thought I lost you totally, Sanet.
No, we can hear, and we have mentioned my genuine smile is special and
unique.
Yes. Thanks, Sunny. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, and that's the only one that we're going to say, Yaki?
Yeah, that's the only one, Sunny.
Wow, thank you so much, my beautiful Yaki. You can unshare on your side. And then, ladies, if you love Yaki's session today on smile, you are, if there's any questions, please ask. And if you love it, there in the reaction button, you can do a heart. Wow. Oh, Mandy, I love all your hearts in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yaki, thank you so much, my beautiful one. I love you very much. So unstoppable. You are unstoppable, Unita. So, Unita, the last few months I have get to know you. You are amazing. And the way that everything you are doing and all the things you are is just amazing. And I am super proud of you. And I could not wait for today, for our session on Power Pose. So it's all over to you, my beautiful Unita.
Thank you so much. I brought everyone something. I hope you're ready. Mwah, 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 mwah. Sending so much light and love your way. Good evening, Sanet and the Diamond Beauties and our wonderful brother, Jose Escobar. It is such a privilege to be with you this evening. And before I introduce myself, I just want to tell Jose, who talked about flossing. I was once at the dentist office and there was a little boy asking the dentist, which of my teeth should I floss? And I'll never forget the dentist looked at the little boy and he said, only the teeth you want to keep. So I was thinking of that as you were presenting. Thank you so much for this wonderful platform. It is a privilege to be here. My name is Juanita Kapp, and I'm a pastor and a public speaker, an entrepreneur, and also a martial artist. I do kickboxing, I do jiu-jitsu and karate. It's really a very important part of my life. I'm the owner of Meticulous and my business is quite diverse, but for the purpose of the Power Pose theme this evening, I will only put focus on Meticulous Moments, which is my podcast, through which I aim to facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And I'm here this evening to discuss the topic of power pose, and quite specifically to discuss the purpose of a power pose. Now, I grew up in a very traditional Christian family. We had 2 game farms, and I remember our game farms' names were Fenton and Jeanette. And I remember as a little girl how the hunters from all over the world came to hunt kudu and rooibok, and I have so many stories, but for time's sake, we won't go into that this evening. But a Christian traditional family. We try to do the right thing the right way. We try to live by the correct morals and values. We went to church every Sunday. We prayed, we fasted, we tried to be good people in society, people that contributed to society. And we were taught that our conduct showed the love of Jesus. Now, I only had my mom as I grew up. I never had a dad, and that made me very strong, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and it made me very independent. And it brought me to a place in my life where I felt that I needed to prove something. So when there was an activity at school, if it was sport, if it was public speaking, if it was a play, whatever it was, I always took part and I always gave my best. And I always told myself nothing can get in the way of my success. And by the grace of God, I always excelled in everything that I did. And let me repeat that. It was only by the grace of God that I excelled. So I grew up in this Christian family. I went through school, and when I went to university, I drifted away. I drifted away from God. I drifted away from my family, and I drifted away from a life of discipline that had been drilled into me since I was a young child. And I went through a very traumatic experience. And I can't elaborate on this evening because we have to keep our eye on the time, but a very traumatic, life-changing experience. And it brought me back to God. And it brought me back to the church. And I'll never forget, I went to a church service and I sat down and the band started to play. And I'd always been a singer and a songwriter since I was a little girl. I used to play guitar. I still do bass and drums. And this band just made the most beautiful gospel music. And I thought, what a better way to contribute to the church than to offer my skills, because I'm so passionate about music. And after the church service, I went to the pastor and I asked him if I could be a part of his band. And he said, of course you may be. And they put me in a young adults group. Later, I found myself working in the church office. Before long, I was the youth leader. Before I knew it, I was the youth pastor. I started studying theology. My whole life was about God and community. I became an assistant pastor, and I became a senior pastor who had been ordained. Fast forward a few years, I was trying to do the right thing the right way, like I had been taught. And then COVID happened. And my whole framework, everything that I thought was important, everything that I thought I knew about the world and people and God, changed in an instant. And I call it the 4 M's, because a lot of things went wrong in my life. I was busy with my master's in theology. It was the worst time for COVID to happen because I couldn't travel to my invigilators. I unfortunately went through a marital strife. My marriage was failing. My ministry was failing because the church closed. It was closed. I had to reinvent myself. I had to look at who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do with my life. And unfortunately, my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. Now, let me go back a year. In 2019, my mom was diagnosed with a lesion in her spine. And she went through all the treatment. She went for the radiation. She went for the chemotherapy. And by December, they gave her a clean bill of health. They told her to come back in January 2020. And they gave her another clean bill of health. And they told her she never had to go back again. And we rejoiced. COVID happened in March 2020. A week into COVID, complete lockdown, my mother phones me and she says she has ear pain. We can't find a doctor that's open. I told her to go to the hospital. When she went to the hospital, she couldn't even take a bag, and no family members were allowed to go. That's how difficult they were, but obviously because they had to contain the virus. They had to contain the pandemic. She went to hospital. We had no contact. She wasn't allowed to take her cell phone. We thought she had middle ear infection. By the time they took her home, she was allowed to go home after all the tests, because they did tests in the oncology department as well because of her history in 2019. She was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer and given 3 to 4 weeks to live. I went into shock. I went into panic. I lived 9 hours from her, and I didn't know if I would see my mom before she passed away. So what did I do? I went back to what I knew. I prayed, I fasted, I journaled, I manifested, I did affirmations, and I have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful home overlooking the mountains here in the Eastern Cape. And during the morning, at some point in the morning, there is sun that shines into my bedroom. And I would go sit at the foot of my bed every single day. And I would look at the mountains and I would raise my hands and I would say Psalm 121. I look unto the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who created the heavens and the earth. And I prayed two things. I said, Lord, I beg you, let me reach my mom before she passes away. And the second thing I ask, Lord, is don't let her forget me. When I reach her, let her remember me and the kids. 3 weeks. 4 weeks to live. That was the doctor's diagnosis. She ended up living a little bit more than 3 months. Weeks passed. I kept on praying. I kept on doing my affirmations. And finally, by the end of June, I was able to get a permit from both my GP, who said I can go and visit a patient that is terminally ill, and I also got a permit from the church. Thank God, because I am an ordained pastor. The Monday afternoon, they mail me the permit from the church. My GP gives me the permit from Queenstown to get me to go through the regions and travel and see my mom. By 11 p.m. that night, I get a call from her caretaker, and they are telling me that she's vomiting a brown liquid and they think it's blood. They are going to send her to the hospital. And I knew in COVID, if they send her to hospital, I won't see her before she passes away. I packed my bags right then and there. I jumped in the car with my kids and I drove 9 hours. I only stopped in Bloemfontein, which is 4.5 hours from us, to refuel. And I raced because I said, even if she ends up in hospital, I will break down those doors. I'm going to see my mom before she goes to be with the Lord. We reached Pretoria Tuesday morning. I left the key in the ignition. I ran up the steps. I barged into her room and she looked up. By that time, she'd lost her hearing, but she saw the door fly open and she looked up and she started crying uncontrollably. And we were united. And I praised the Lord and I thanked the Lord for this opportunity. And I sat with her every single day. She couldn't hear anymore. She spoke, and then I would write on a whiteboard my answer. And we had a lovely time together. She was anorexic. It wasn't pretty. She couldn't walk anymore. She was bedridden, and the pain was unbearable. And by the Saturday, we sat and we talked. And she was talking, and I was writing. And she said something to me. She said, Yoni, and that was her name for me. She said, Yoni, we've been doing the right thing the wrong way. And I looked at her and I wrote down, Mom, what are you talking about? You're a wonderful mother. She repeated, she said, Yoni, we've been doing the right thing the wrong way. I said, Mom, whatever do you mean? She said, listen to me very clearly. She said, I'm 65 years old and I'm going to pass away very soon. I know I'm going to be with the Lord. She said, I taught you to give of your time and your resources and your money to people, and to always focus on helping community and people and community and people. She says, here I am, I'm 65 years old, I'm dying. I thought I was going to live until I'm 85 or 90. There are things I wanted to do. There were places that I wanted to see. There were people I wanted to meet. There were businesses I wanted to start. She said, and I've been doing the right thing the wrong way, and I taught you that way. And I'm changing that today before I go. She said, you need to start doing the right thing the right way. And I wrote down, whatever do you mean? Because I couldn't understand how her life philosophy could change. But I was curious, and she looked at me and she said, you started the business in 2013. She said, you are so busy with the ministry and everyone else. You are always burned out. You are always overtired. You are always stretching yourself thin because you have this need just to help and give. She said, stop. She said, when I pass away, I want to ask you, please do my funeral for me. And the second thing you need to do is, after you conducted my funeral, go home and live a life of intention and purpose. Focus on yourself, focus on your children, because you are going to pitch up better for others when you do. That Saturday, I saw she couldn't swallow anymore. She started having the death gargle. For those of you who work in the medical field, you'll know what that sounds like. And the pain medication was no longer working, and she was suffering. She went into a semi-coma that Saturday night. I sat with her the whole night. I knew it was the end. I lit her a candle. I was praying for her. I said, Lord, let it just go. I wrote on a board, when she opened her eyes now and again, I wrote on a board, Mama, jy kan gaan rus. That means, Mom, you can go rest. You can go be with the Lord. I'm okay. The kids are going to be okay. The Sunday afternoon, I was sitting at the foot of her bed. I was rubbing her feet to make her comfortable. She was sleeping. She opened her eyes. She looked at me. There was a tear falling down her face, and she closed her eyes and she went to be with the Lord. I conducted her funeral that week, and I came back, and I had 9 hours to think about how I thought life was one way. I was doing the right thing the right way, and what my mom said that it was the wrong way. And I came home and I started to live with intention, and I started to live with purpose. And instead of sitting at the foot of my bed and looking at that mountain, I started to climb that mountain. I started to scale that mountain. Instead of just writing down my affirmations, I started to say them out loud. Instead of just doing meditations when I felt anxious, I started making it a part of my daily routine. Instead of just breathing when I felt uneasy, I made it a part of my day. I said, Lord, I'm living with intention because this shocked me to the core. I don't want to be 65 one day and have the same regrets that my mother had. Thinking back of the power pose, what I do, and I used to do it daily, and now I do it weekly when I have the time. I go up all the way to the mountain, and I will share the picture of the rock of where I go. I go up all the way to the mountain, and I go stand on that mountain like she used to stand. My mom had this power pose to ward us off if we were naughty when we were children. I stand on that rock and I use that power pose, and I look at the world because it's beautiful, the mountains and the blue open air. I look at the world and I tell fear and anxiety and worry to leave me alone, because I am the wonderful woman that God has given this earth, and I speak all of that over myself. And sometimes I stand and I do this and I say, praise the Lord, I'm strong and I'm unstoppable and nothing can stop me. And sometimes my power pose looks like this, and I say, I'm victorious in the name of Jesus. Nothing can come in my way. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue which rises up against me in judgment you shall condemn. This is my heritage, for I'm the servant of the Lord, and my righteousness is from you. And that has helped me through the most difficult times. Sometimes I'll sit on that rock and I'll see the blue sky, and I'll say to myself, I see my life unfolding in pictures. It's like there's big TV screens. So I want to speak to you this evening, and I want to ask you to use the power pose to do the right thing the right way, and to do introspection, and to make sure you have enough time for yourself. You have to give to others, of course you do. You have to sow into community, of course you do. But look after yourself first so that you can show up for others better. I give over to you, Sanette.
Wow, thank you so much. And you know, I never knew your beautiful story. And I remember the day that you met me for the first time. You said to me, Sanette, you came into my life the right time. Self-love is important to me. Thank you. So that story is even more dearer to my heart. And I am so privileged and honored to have met you, my beautiful Unita. So honored.
Pleasure.
Is there any question or feedback for Unita before we dance again with her forever song?
Unita, I just want to say, you know what, between you and Jose, but the most is, yeah, Jose has given a lot of info, but I must say you've just confirmed a lot that has happened the last 3 weeks with me. And if I take especially on Saturday, yeah, I've been sick and everything, but Saturday it really hit me between my eyes when something happened, and I just said, you know what, I need to look after myself first because I can't give out anymore. And I'm really sorry for your loss, and you're really, really blessed for what
Thank you, my
has taken
sister. Love you,
place.
love.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Sunette. And I can just say, Sunette, after me and you had our talk, and the way that you have put your shoulders back and you have put your chin up and you are facing the world, I am proud of you. I cannot wait to do your forever song, and we're going to do it soon. So ladies, I hope you had a beautiful session. Thank you so much, Yaki. I don't see Yaki here anymore, but thank you so much, Unita, for giving us your heart. It was beautiful. So ladies, are you ready to have a dance